Hey guys, first regardsman here. I'll be talking about the brand new patch notes for patch 11.0 of Space Marine 2. These were posted about an hour ago. I have played on the new Tyranid map, but I do think this is by far the best map for Tyranids in the entire game. The update has brought in new heroic weapons, new cosmetics, and these are all pretty decent. There are some balancing changes here they went over. I'll be talking about all of that today and more. So first I talk about the new PvE map Reclamation, moving here into the new PvE equipment Sanctified Wrath. This thing sucked ass in the public test server, and I made a whole video about this. So now they say upon use, the player's melee damage is increased by 25% for 15 seconds, and the player is immune to knockbacks. When used, enemies within the small radius are pushed back, and the change for the PTS is that they increase the amount of charges from 1 to 2. This is not going to fix this thing at all. This is still about the worst equipment in the game. I don't know why they thought that like only 2 charges on this is like super good. It's still pretty terrible, and I would think they should buff this again, but we'll get into that at a different point in time. For now, we're moving on to the new battlefield conditions. There are more than 40 new battlefield conditions that have been added. Some of these are actually pretty cool. They'll like swap the factions on a given map, so that is actually pretty decent. I think this is like a pretty big boon for the update. And on the note of the heroic weapons, they've added in the new heavy bolt pistol, heavy bolter, instigator bolt carbine, bolt sniper rifle, power fist, and thunder hammer. Now these are all pretty decent at the moment. Bolt sniper rifle did get nerfed from the PTS quite a bit. We'll get into that in a second, but the rest of them got buffs. Now here for the armor pieces, these are the brand new armor pieces you can find in the Accolade store: the Mark 7 helmet, Artificer Mark X helmet, Black Templar's helmet, Corvus Veteran helmet, etc. These are all pretty cool. We'll go over all of these at some other point in time, but for now, I want to talk about the brand new gameplay and balancing tweaks, where they say Assault has a new feature. They've added a set of jump pack dash attacks for the Assault that are much quicker and responsive than normal sprint attacks. Dash attacks should be affected by all perks that affect sprint attacks as well, and the change for the PTS is that the jump attacks deal 50% more damage. They said we're going to continue expanding and improving sandbox gameplay for all classes. After Assault, it's going to be Tactical's and Vanguard's turn. However, these changes will not be in patch 12, as we would like to focus on Tech Marines. You can expect like a proper sandbox improvement for these in like, I don't know, summer next year. That's kind of insane to think, but that's the way it is. Now, I'll say, if the jump attack dash is like anything like it was in the PTS, it is still absolutely garbage. Giving a 50% damage bonus is something that eats up your jump pack is just garbage in Space Marine 2. Really, the problem with this perk, or like this whole thing they added, is that your jump pack is just way too useful for ground pound to ever want to give up for like a little sprint attack. Like, it's just not worth it at all. So hopefully they buff this again. I don't really know why they thought this was a good idea. I've tried it out a little bit, and it's just not very good whatsoever, but what are you gonna do? Next, they say for the melee here, the Power Axe Chain Whirl Slash can now be performed after an overhead strike. Overhead strike damage is increased by 50%. The perk riposte became a default behavior. After performing a power backstep, hold attack to perform an overhead strike, and the perk riposte has changed. Overhead strike damage after backstep is doubled, and the blocking versions can now enter power stance. And it doesn't say it here, but they also fixed the delay on entering power stance in the block version, which is pretty insane. So this is probably the best in slot melee currently, besides the power fist block version. It might even be better in a lot of cases, to be honest, because you hit so many enemies and it's way safer to use. And overall, this is like my favorite in the entire game currently. Now here they say the heroic double-edged relic chainsword trampling stride perk now works with the heroic perk combo. So this is just the double stomp perk, and now it actually properly functions. This is a great change because double stomping is super fun with this weapon. It's also very strong. They also say the double heavy combo now can be performed after a roll slash sprint attack, which is a little bit less useful, but this is a pretty good change. Next, they say the heroic power gladius power knife damage buff now lasts for 1 second after the first instance of damage instead of being wasted on a single enemy, and the change for the PTS fixed an issue where the damage buff lasted indefinitely. So this thing is still very strong. It functions very similarly to a block weapon now. It was definitely OP in the PTS, but it's still very strong. 1 second uptime is enough for like a heavy attack and stuff like that, on top of light attacks and such. So really good there. Power Gladius is one of the stronger heroic weapons for sure now, especially since they changed the netcode to like properly have a better damage cap now. Now for the firearms, they have buffed up the heavy bolt rifle base damage increased by 13%. Now, this was the same in the PTS. This thing feels way better now. It's not like a top tier gun by any means, but definitely stronger. Next, they talk about the Hero Combi Melta, increasing the damage by 15% for both the bolter and Melta firing modes. You mainly feel this on the bolter portion, but it does feel way stronger as well. This was the same in the PTS because when I tried it out, it just feels a lot stronger. Like 15% may not seem like a lot, but the melt to firing mode hardly matters for damage. But as far as the bolter portion is concerned, that one definitely feels substantially stronger and definitely like blows apart heads far more easily. Now, the multi-melta here, this was a big thing that they nerfed. They said the change allowing the player to shoot from standing position immediately after firing from the blind, removing the previous delay, has been reverted. The interval between shots is now enforced from transitioning to the standing position, because previously you could double shot the multi-melta, and that was pretty damn overpowered, to be honest. It was only in there for like 1 or 2 patches, and while it was around, it was like one of the most broken things in the whole game. I mean, was it like a really like a necessary nerf? I don't think so, but it was definitely very powerful. Now, for the bolt pistol, they say the base damage increases by 13.5%. I believe this is actually up by like 1% over where it was in the PTS. Either way, the bolt pistol feels way better now, so definitely a strong option. And the Volkite pistol here, base damage and Volkite explosion damage increases by 10%. This is pretty good. I haven't tried this one out personally yet, so like maybe this will feel a lot better than it looks, but 10% up could do a lot. It really depends on how the contested health recovery is on this weapon, because that was always the biggest issue with it. If that's fixed, it's going to be a pretty damn good option. Now, for patch 11.0 heroic weapon changes from the PTS, this is probably the most controversial bit here. So first up, they have the heroic heavy bolt pistol. They increase the gun strike damage by 20%, and the heroic heavy bolt pistol actually has the lowest gun strike damage of any heavy bolt pistol in the PTS. Now, I don't know if upping the gun strike damage by 20% will fix that. We'll see, but I have a feeling it's still going to be shit. And they added 6 ammo to the max capacity. This should be like add 40 ammo to the max capacity, to be honest. And the heroic perk will now instantly kill enemies that are calling for reinforcements. That is better than before, but it's definitely not good. Having the perks basically just instantly kill reinforcement is definitely a stronger option. There was like a perk interaction with the tactical signal jammer that would do this already, and it was pretty funny to use, but it's not amazing by any means. I mean, this is just not a very good weapon in my opinion, but it's definitely usable if you want to. Now, next up, this is for sure a nerf. Heroic Sniper Bolt Rifle. All ammo restore perks will not trigger when using this weapon. While it was clear that it's a very powerful weapon in the PTS, we don't want to reduce its effectiveness, we do want to raise its skill cap. I don't think this was a necessary nerf at all, to be honest. This weapon was already like the highest skill cap weapon in the game for like all the heroic options, and running out of ammo on Tyranids, not too bad even with this nerf here, but running out of ammo versus Chaos, that's probably going to be a huge issue for a lot of people. This weapon does not have a huge ammo capacity whatsoever. It's already like a major issue for most bolt sniper weapons. So if you miss your headshots like at all, you are just going to run out incredibly fast. I think high skill cap weapons are good, but I mean, I would like to see more people run this on Chaos solo and not run out, because it's pretty damn hard. It's probably one of the hardest things to do in this game, and I don't know if it's like a really like a necessary change. Maybe they should have nerfed the reloaded restoration, because that would give you like ammo positivity. Ammo positivity. It would make you go ammo positive if you got enough headshots on it, but like this change, I don't know if I agree with this. Next up, they have Heroic Thunderhammer. Assault's ground pound will also spawn a shock zone. That's pretty cool. I mean, getting a shock area on your ground pound is pretty neat. I mean, usually ground pound one-shots all the Minoris anyways, but like for the leftover Majoris and stuff, that's pretty damn good. I think it's a good change. Maybe not like the strongest option ever, but definitely a straight buff up. Straight buff up. Straight buff. Heroic Power Fist. Damage bonus for light attacks is increased by 200%. That's definitely up from the 100% before, I believe, and increased the radius for the heroic perk activation to 15 meters. This is a good change because the radius of your gun strike and perk activation was just way too small before. Getting a gun strike where you had like basically point blank in a guy's face, definitely a better option now. And they said issue fix, sometimes the perks didn't activate properly. I mean, this seems good, but I'll be real, this is probably like the worst option for the Power Fist still, which is kind of unfortunate. Now here they say the Heroic Heavy Bolter, it now works like a fencing weapon as originally intended. This is an amazing change. Having a fencing heavy bolter, guys, this is just the best heavy bolter in the entire game now. Having any type of fencing option on the heavy class is just goated. Like, fencing is the biggest boon this class could ever ask for. By far best in slot. Great change, can't wait to try this out. Now, for classes here, it says the Tactical Signal Jammer perk has been reworked. Now it says enemies marked by Auspex scan, other enemies cannot call, excuse me. After marking an enemy with Auspex scan, other enemies cannot call for reinforcements and automatically explode upon attempting to do so for 90 seconds. This perk still sucks, and it doesn't even have like a cool perk interaction anymore with the heroic heavy bolt pistol, which is kind of shit. I don't know why you'd want this, to be honest, but that's just the way it is. Sniper, precision targeting, now the perk works against extremis and terminus level enemies. Guardian protocol, remove the cooldown, and ambush now also slows down nearby enemies for 10 seconds. This perk is pretty damn good now. These two are still pretty shit, to be honest, which is kind of unfortunate. Like, I tried out ambush in the PTS. There was just no reason to ever take this over lingering concealment and persistence. Both of those are just way better perks in my opinion, so I just wouldn't take these. Need like another buff for sure. Emergency countermeasure on the bulwark, cooldowns decreased from 90 to 45 seconds. I mean, this perk was already pretty good, but a 45-second cooldown feels way better. Shock nade on your spot when your armor breaks is top tier for sure, and I think this is a great change. Now it says Vanguard. For too long, Vanguard's role is to be a vessel for the squad's healing perks. With these changes, we want to reinforce range as melee hybrid playstyle for him. We are not entirely done with Vanguard changes. We would like to take a closer look at his ability. The grapnel launcher damage now scales based on difficulty. The retribution, the perk has been reworked. The old is after you are grabbed or knocked back, you deal 30% more melee damage for 20 seconds. And the new is when your ranged weapons magazine is empty, melee damage increases by 25%. A change from the PTS, the damage buff is increased from 20% from 20 to 25%. It's still terrible because the issue with this perk is that retribution is calculated improperly, just like the improved melee perk on the Inferno pistol, so it is a terrible damage buff. I mean, like, maybe I'll try it out in the test arena or something like that at some point, see if the damage is better now, but I kind of doubt it. This perk probably still is like completely ass, but I mean, I guess now it's 25% shit instead of 20. Here it says moving target. The perk has been reworked. Old, each melee attack you land reduces the range damage you take by 5% up to 30%. If you do not land a melee attack for 5 seconds, the effect ends. And the new is killing an enemy at a range of 30 meters or more restores ability charge by 5%. This is not super good versus Tyranids, but against Chaos there are like a lot of cultists, so like hang out like way back when, like like way out there. So it's pretty good for that because like you'll one-shot them very easily. They tend to stack up in groups of like 5 or 10. So pretty good for that, but like versus Tyranids, I don't think it's like super amazing. Here they have Tenacity. The perk has been reworked. The old is after killing 10 enemies within 5 seconds, that diving kicks damage increases by 40% for 15 seconds. And the new is after a ranged kill, Majora's level or higher enemies, diving kicks damage increases by 130%. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, the change from the PTS is they fix the interaction between Shockwave perk and Tenacity caused by double damage scaling. So this was something I expected would be fixed. You'll still damn near one-shot guys, but for some reason, Shockwave was applying double damage from the Tenacity perk. I didn't expect that would stay in the game, but it's still a very strong option. You'll still do like a ton off of Shockwave, because Shockwave should still benefit from the diving kick damage buff. It just won't be like completely OP, so hopefully that's a good fix there. All right, next up they say Inner Fire now works according to the description, so I assume they just up the description here, and collateral damage, increased damage by diving kick to 50%. So both these are pretty good changes. Vanguard definitely won this patch. Now next up they talk about Assault with the active attrition perk. The old perk here says enemies hit by melee attack take 15% more damage for 3 seconds, and the new is enemies hit by damage from melee attacks execute while sprinting or dashing. Melee attacks take 25% more damage for 5 seconds. This one is way better for dash builds. Also, having a 5-second uptime on this is pretty damn strong versus the 3 before. I did like this perk because like it does apply a debuff to the enemies for your entire team, but it still does that, so pretty strong there. Definitely a good change for like Wind Fury builds and such. And next, I say the battlefield condition changes here are great responsibility. Increased HP bonus from 100% to 150%, and retirement bars reduce HP debuff from 66 to 50%. This one was just suboptimal state before. Poorly fit suit reduced damage by 33%. Equipment malfunction restricted from appearing on the exfiltration mission. Surgical strike buff damage by 15%, and extreme challenge increased extremis enemy spawn cooldown. I think this is kind of lame because like that was one of the coolest things about this entire condition was you got like a ton of extremis, but some people complain, so I want to nerf that. Now for gameplay quality of life, they increased the netcode damage cap. This basically just means that you can one-shot a lot of guys with like certain weapons now. There used to be like a damage cap before. They say this change is going to open a huge can of worms for gameplay balancing, but it has to be done. The game damage numbers should not be restricted by netcode and should be accurate all the time. We'll be monitoring which builds and perks combinations will become problematic. It's pretty clear that some damage buff combinations from multiple sources are already insane. Looking at you blocking Power Fist. For now, have fun. I mean, maybe they'll nerf the block Power Fist, but to be honest, that is a justified nerf because the block Power Fist is fucking insane. But it might be more insane now with like this netcode change. Next, they say Sniper damage buff from cloak ability lasts a little bit longer to fully affect entire burst and full auto weapons, improves sound indication for unparryable attacks, and the Pyre Cannon heavy stance behavior with sprint now matches the other weapons. And for the customization levels and AI, they say Chaos Spawn fixed headshots not registering for client-side hit detection weapons. This is great because the headshot multiplier was broken, and the Vortex Beast now has a headshot modifier finally, and for customization, bots use player class customization. Added sorting parts by rarity, fixed by Templar champion now has his now changed his power sword properly, and lots of minor customization fixes. And for general fixes, holy shit, that's a lot. Excuse me, there's a lot in this. Fixed. The Vanguard's Restless Fortitude perk does not activate when finishing off an enemy with a grapnel launcher. This was a pretty big issue before with Tactical Prowess. That was fixed in the PTS as well. They also say that the Sniper's ability stops recharging and working completely until the end of the match after getting hit during its activation in rare cases. Thank God, that was a shitty-ass bug that was going on. Players can't use Gunstrike on Lichter after a perfect dodge in some rare cases. I've definitely encountered that. Assault's class perk Overcharge does not increase the damage of charge attacks for any weapon except the Thunder Hammer. Now it does, which is a pretty good thing here. Combined Onslaught and Heavy Onslaught perks now apply to dash attacks with the Combat Knife. I mean, who gives a shit? But like, I guess that's a good change. And here they say the Shadow Stab is affected by the Combined Onslaught perk instead of the Heavy Onslaught swiping a heavy attack. I mean, it's just more Shadow Stab damage with like an up netcode, so that's pretty good as well. And for the final things here, they talk about fixed power sword restoration. I mean, maybe we'll go over these again at some point, but the big thing is they fix a bunch of bugs here. And for tech, they said memory optimizations, crash fixes, and general stability improvements, and general connectivity improvements. That's pretty much all there is here. I mean, some of the changes here are pretty damn good. They definitely buffed up the Heroic Heavy Bolter. The Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol is technically better. The Heroic Sniper Bolt Rifle probably didn't need this nerf, at least not from like versatile precision. And that is pretty much all they have stated on this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you enjoying patch 11.0? Have you played the new boss fight in Reclamation? And as always, thank you guys for watching. If you like content like this, subscribe for more, and take it easy. Bye.